welcome to another edition of Recruiters with No Limits. Always live and never scripted. Here with my sidekick and co-host, Johnny Ruffini. Hey, Johnny, what's up, brother?
Shark, how are you, my man?
Dude, you just made it to the show, man. Hey, nick of time, right?
Better
Well, hey,
late than
Johnny,
never.
you ready for the? We got a big conference next month, man. Are you excited for this or what, bro?
I am very, very excited. Looking forward to being there and looking forward to hearing this guy present.
This guy, 25 years in the industry. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's a mountaineer. It's the one and only Tom Erb to the show.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. So it's actually closer to 30. So, but who's counting?
Oh, wow. Look at you. 30 years.
Yeah. Goes fast.
You're ready for the Hall of Fame pretty soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll take any offers. Sure. Anybody will have me. I don't care what the Hall of Fame is. Yeah.
So, hey, Tom, so you're going to be, speaking at this big sales conference. You're going to be in the beginning and at the end. We're going to highlight some of this stuff because I think, and John agrees, that this year it's about selling the right way. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it's funny because, I speak a lot, as you guys know, and a year and a half ago, it was, can you come speak about recruiting? And that's all I talked about. And now it's like, can you come talk about sales? It's, the pendulum has swung. And so that's what we're talking about is sales. So yeah, excited. This is the first ever staffing sales summit. And I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
The lineup's awesome. It's going to be at a great location down in Florida. And I'm excited. It's fun.
Really unique in the sense that the whole curriculum is around staffing sales. It's not like sales is one part of the agenda. It's the first that I've seen that's really just all focused on sales. But what do you think has caused the shift, Tom, as far as, I know our industry is cyclical, but it seems like all of a sudden in the last 6 to 12 months, firms are like, we need help selling. What do you think drove that?
It's I think in 2023 it was an overcorrection, and it's, how you drive down the interstate and all of a sudden you come to a complete stop and then you start to inch along, you speed up and then you stop and you inch along and then you figure out, you go, oh, there must be a wreck there. And then you keep going and all of a sudden there's nothing. And then you just back up to full speed. And it's because somebody slowed down behind them, somebody slowed down behind them. That's what 23 was, is we had inflation, we had interest rates going up, we had people were doing things based on what they felt was going to happen more than what was really happening. So you had these organizations at a high level that were pumping the brakes on hiring, that were trying to consolidate. You had some some backlash of COVID, particularly for healthcare staffing, where companies were saying, hey, I don't want to use staffing. I'm going to try and bring it back in. And then as they pump the brakes, their suppliers pumped the brakes and their suppliers pumped the brakes, and it came all the way down to staffing. And if you look at the demand for staffing, we've taken the brunt of the slowdown, and everybody else has pretty much still been recruiting, and the job openings are still open. I think companies have been slow playing open positions, but all of that has just led to a little bit less staffing. So it's, it was an overcorrection. It's not going to last. I think 2024 is already shaping up to be strong. We're seeing that with a lot of our clients. And now's the time to hit the gas and go out and get as many sales as we can.
100%. So, Tom, the sales reps, now we talked about this off, they don't know how to sell anymore. I think they're just throwing emails out there. Is this something that's going to be a game changer this year? Seriously, you just can't say an email and say, I got bodies to supply for you.
Yeah, the whole idea of, me too selling is not there, right? Give me a chance, let us have an opportunity to earn your business, that kind of stuff. Just, it's not resonating out there. There's just too much competition. One of the things I point to is that prior to COVID, ASA said there were 20,000 staffing companies. You go on ASA's website now, 3.5, 4 years later, they say there's over 25,000.
Wow.
So you just think about that. So it's not only who you were competing with before, but our industry, there's staffing companies popping up every day.
Oh my God, everywhere.
There's a ton of competition. And you also have this, when things were going good and companies were calling in and placing orders, which, by the way, we've been doing this for a while, that never happened before. Companies were not calling in randomly placing orders. So the last couple of years when they were doing that, everybody got complacent and everybody started saying, well, why would I sell? I can't fill the jobs I got now. So everybody stopped selling. And now everybody's in what I call panic selling, which is, oh my God, we got to get out there and start selling and we got to land business today. And it's like, you can't land business today. If you did, that'd be easy. And that's how we'd always do it. But they go, oh, let's have the recruiters sell and let's have, all sorts of people. So companies are getting flooded with even more sales calls because now there's more attention on it. They're throwing out people there that really shouldn't be selling, that aren't even wanting to sell. And so it's just, it's another overcorrection to it, and just too much competition out there.
It always amazed me when, it always amazed me when, when business is good, it's kind of like, oh, I don't need more jobs or I don't need more candidates. When in reality, I've always been in the mindset that you can never have too many good jobs to work. It's like, how many job orders should I have? Well, if they're good fillable job orders, you should have them, and don't think that you don't. Otherwise, you get into a situation like you were just mentioning, where all of a sudden you panic and you say, "Oh, we're dried up because we stopped developing business relationships."
Yeah, I was doing a lot of speaking around maximizing client relationships, which is one of the sessions that I'm doing for the Staffing Sales Summit, and I always ask people, and I asked them back when we were having this recruiting issue, when we couldn't fill jobs. We had too many jobs, hundreds or thousands of jobs. And I would say, how many of you are having trouble recruiting? And they'd all raise their hand. They kind of laugh because it was a ridiculous question. It was right. Everybody's having trouble recruiting. I said, okay. I said, well, now think about, do you have any clients that if they called in, you could fill that job today? And everybody raised their hand. I said, see, your problem isn't a recruiting problem. It's a sales problem. You don't have enough good clients. You don't have enough clients like that. You're trying to fill crappy orders and you're mistaking that with having too many open jobs. And so now what's happened is all are the crappy jobs, or, not nearly as many jobs. And so we should always be selling, regardless of what the environment is. It doesn't matter. We should always be selling. We should always be recruiting.
Agreed.
Well, that leads us into your presentation, that maximizing client relationships. So tell us a little bit about that, Tom, because that's what's all about.
So that's the closing session that we're doing. And it's really just talking about, are we being strategic in maximizing what we've already brought in? We've done the difficult work of trying to get a new client, or we've had a client for a while and we've kept them. But are we truly maximizing that relationship? Do we have the right type of relationship with them? Do we have the right type of relationship within the organization as far as the different contacts? Are we being strategic about it? Are we trying to improve that? Are we looking at different departments and locations and skill sets? By most estimates, when we start to really dig into this, we can get an extra 30, 40, 50%, sometimes 100% business just with existing clients. Everybody is so focused on trying to get new clients in, but it's just try and do more with what you've got. We're in a market now where exclusivity is uncommon. They're using 2, 3, 5, 10, 50 staffing companies. Mm-hmm. And so it then becomes a matter of how do we strengthen those relationships and then start stealing other people's pieces of the pie. Not just
I love
the
that
piece
part.
of pie.
Yeah. Stealing? I love that part. Hunting them down? That's what I do. That's the best, right? If you can't service it, I'll take it off you.
Yeah. I'll be happy to take your business. So,
absolutely.
So that's what it's talking about. It's talking about, just some proven techniques about how to do that, how to be more strategic, thoughtful, purposeful in how you're managing relationships, not just taking orders, not just submitting candidates, not just saying yes, 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 but really being consultative, really focusing on how do we grow that business? How do we do more with them? How do we provide solutions rather than just filling jobs?
It almost sounds a lot like to get better sales. A lot of this is going back to the basics, going back to fundamentals that, while we have to adapt to the changing environments over the years, the fundamentals still exist. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think they always do, and we always get away from it. I would say that I get more people that comment that when they hear me talk about these topics, they go, "This is all stuff that I know, I just don't do." Right?
Mm.
And I would argue some of it they don't know, but fundamentally, it is we know we should be doing this, but we lose sight of it completely. And it's really a matter of just being more purposeful in what we're doing rather than just letting each day just kind of dictate, just flow with the day as it takes us wherever it goes, which is what we tend to get in the habit of. We get real busy and we just do what's in front of us as opposed to saying what's really going to move the needle and help us be successful. So, but it is all fundamentals. It's all, and most of what I talk about is really fundamental stuff. It's just about creating more structure and process and deliberateness about it and just being better at it.
And to your point, why do you think so many salespeople have such a hard time sticking to a process, sticking to a plan that they know in their hearts is going to work, but they can't carry it out?
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things. First of all, most good salespeople are also the shiny object chasers, right? We're the look, there's a squirrel kind of personality. So we get distracted easy. A lot of times, and I put myself in this category. Salespeople are not the most structured, organized people by nature, anyways. It's what makes them good salespeople, but it also causes them to, on their own, they're usually not going to figure it out. The problem is that in most cases we hire salespeople and then we say, go figure it out. We don't train them. We don't continue to train them. We don't work on them getting better. We assume they're already good. And the reality of it is they're just not good, and they need help. It doesn't mean they can't be good, but we listen to recorded live sales calls all the time, and it is tough to listen to at times because they really don't know what to say. And it's not their fault. They just haven't been trained. We assume they know what they're going to say. We assume, well, they're a salesperson, they'll figure it out, and they don't. And so I can boil it down to what every salesperson says out there, which is, hi, this is Tom with XYZ Staffing. I was just calling to see if you had any jobs we could help you with.
Come on, man.
And that's a good one. I've heard ones that aren't as good. So I'm not saying it's a good one. I'm saying it's good compared to what it is. But that's what 98% of salespeople, 99% of salespeople, they say some version of that. Hi, I'm just checking in. Want to see if you had any needs we could help you with. No value there. There's no nothing there.
You know what, Tom? You just hit it on the head. And what with me, I just bullshit with them. I don't even talk about staff in the first 5 minutes. We're just talking about each other, and the neighborhood and where you're at. And I think that's a big thing you guys probably agree on. Nobody in sales does research on the company. They just pick up the phone and call. They have no clue if they're going to go bankrupt or nothing. So how do you train a salesperson? You just can't have knock on doors and just give brochures out. Where do you step into the agencies and say, this is not the way to do this?
Well, first of all, you have to determine what makes you different, and you have to really create that messaging so that it can be articulated consistently and effectively. But then from there, you have to figure out who your ideal client profile is. You have to figure out, who in the market, whether that's geographic market or whether that's skill set market, professional market, whatever, who are the most likely to use our services, and then that's who we go after. And so I think that you have to understand that first, because if you don't, you can spin your wheels a lot going after the wrong people. And it's hard to get a hold of people. So when you finally get a hold of them, you may have tried to reach out to them 8 to 10 times. And then they go, yep, I'm never doing business with you because of this. And then you realize you wasted a bunch of time. Or what a lot of salespeople do, especially when they're starting out, if they're a little bit more entry level, they tend to go too low in the organization. They'll go at a receptionist level or an executive assistant level or a generalist or a supervisor or something like that. And it's awful hard to swim upstream. It's much easier to start at the top and if you have to be pushed down. So there's just a lot of things that go into it, but it's, first of all, it's having good messaging. Second of all, it's going after the right people. And then third, it's being able to uh, make the most out of the few live swings that you get. I mean, you call 150 people, you're lucky to talk to 5 or 6 the whole week. So
yeah, really,
those 5 or 6 have to really count. You have to have good, meaningful conversations with them.
What you're suggesting, Tom, is outlandish. You're saying that people should actually have a plan and a strategy.
That's right.
A plan.
Yeah. I mean, listen, process and structure, doing the same thing always trumps chaos, right? And just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And most of us just throw spaghetti at the wall. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know who we're going to reach out to. We don't know what we're going to say when we get hold of them. We don't, there's no plan ahead of time.
Which if staffing professionals would realize that, they would recognize how easy it is to be better than their competition.
It's so easy to sell. Seriously, it is. It's so easy to sell right now if you know what you're doing.
Right, because if you realize that that's what your competition's doing, if you're just a little bit better, more structured, have better messaging, over the course of time, you're going to have more success.
100%. So, hey, Tom, you're going to love this real quick, man. On a side note, I think I said this last week. So when I go for a sales call, guess what? The number one thing in my area and everywhere, service. These sales reps never do the service, never call back, never follow up. So guess what I do to the hiring manager? I say, on a Saturday or Sunday, you text me. This is my personal number. If I respond, then I'm worth, let's do business together. And they do it all the time.
I do the same thing. I tell them, here's Shark's cell phone number, text him, or call him on a Saturday or Sunday.
Shit.
I love that.
Oh, man. But all joking aside, seriously, stuff like that, people resonate to. I mean, I got to tell you, ghosting, and we talked about this last week, ghosting happens a lot with the sales and staffing too, just not the clients and the candidates. I mean, we're ghosting people too, over and over again.
You're right, Richard, in the sense that people don't have the stick-to-itiveness to follow up. It's like if they don't get someone on the first go, most people, like, I think the statistic is like 50% of them will not make that follow-up call the following week or even later in that week. So it reduces your competition if you're selling against that person. But yeah, why are more and more people, they don't have the patience to see that through. And for me, like, that's part of our job. It's the hunt, right?
Right. It's why I have the 10-week sales process, because a lot happens over 2.5 months, and it forces a sales rep to reach out to them over 2.5 months. Most people, they want to bombard them. If they're going to call them or reach out to them multiple times, they want to bombard them over the course of a couple of weeks and then move on. Well, now you're just hoping to get lucky. You're just hoping your timing's right. Whereas if I'm reaching out to them multiple times over the course of time, and I reach out to them with different communication methods, because I don't know if they work better via phone, via email, via text, via social media. We just don't know. Everybody's different, right? You have one person that has 130,000 unopened emails in their inbox, and another one that doesn't know the password to their voicemail. So you just don't know until you're hitting them with different ways. But you're right. I over the years, I've talked to so many salespeople and sales managers and owners of companies, and I go, how many times do you reach out to somebody before you move on? And the most common response I get is 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
And then someone will say, well, I'm really persistent. I'll reach out to them 5 or 6 times before I move on. Well, yeah.
5 or 6 times a day, right?
Yeah.
I've had that happen before too. Companies that call me and say, dude, we just had a staffing firm reach out to us. I won't mention 4 times in one day, Tom. What are you thinking?
Right.
Come on. Really?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then they're really hoping for just lucky timing, right?
Oh,
something's going on that day.
Or you have an unstructured situation where you have, to your point, Richard, one company reaching out 4 or 5 times in the day, and it's 4 or 5 different people, which makes it look even worse.
Exactly. Yes.
We're in a crazy world when it comes to sales. So Tom, give us a little bit about what's going on with the cross-selling techniques real quick here. I know it's going to be one of the takeaways there. So tell us a little bit what sales reps need to do for that.
Cross-sell. I don't know of too many companies that have figured out cross-selling, right? And when we're talking about cross-selling, it's really about this division finds opportunities for this division. Right? I got the professional side that's looking for stuff for the commercial side. I got IT that's looking for accounting and finance stuff. So that's it's a bigger topic. It's a tough area to tackle, but it basically comes down to a couple of things. One is that those salespeople have to have the confidence that if they bring in another department, if they bring in another division or skill set into their client, they have to have the confidence that they're not going to screw it up. And that's what it tends to be. On top of that, you want to have the right kind of incentives to promote cross-selling so that it's lucrative. We also have to understand that there's going to be a lot of people that are just going to go, hey, listen, that's a lucrative incentive, but it's not worth it for me to run the risk of having issues with my client or losing it or whatever. So the incentives are good, but what it really comes down is being able to develop those relationships between the divisions and get a level of confidence. It's the same thing with me as a consultant. I'm not going to refer my clients to somebody that is that I don't think is going to take care of them. And it's just, not worth it for me to make that referral, because if it doesn't work out, then my client's not going to be happy. So cross-selling really comes down to being able to have the confidence that, and also with a lot of salespeople, it's about understanding that if I do have another division that can help them, that creates extra stickiness with that client. I'm creating another value add. I'm solving another problem for them. So it can actually build credibility. So it's that balance of risk and reward. The reward is, hey, listen, I'm a solutions provider that goes beyond just what I've initially sold you. And then the risk side of it is I bring somebody else into the equation that can muddy it up. So the reward has to be higher than the risk.
Man, this is good stuff. So one thing I got to talk about real quick here is sales list, Tom. So this is something my whole life, I don't believe in buying these lists and just blasting shit out like everybody else does. I make my own list, 15 to 20 people, companies, and go after them. Get 50% of that in 6 months, you're rocking and rolling. What's your take on that?
We don't do much with lists. I'll tell you what we've done a lot with, and this is not meant to be an intentional plug or anything, but been having a huge amount of success with Apollo. Apollo.io. It is a competitor to like ZoomInfo and Seamless and some of the others. And we just found that it provides really great value, but also has some really good contact information. And what I recommend doing is, don't go, whether you're using ZoomInfo's great as well. Seamless is good, especially their Google Chrome plugin. But regardless of what you're using, don't go download 1,000 credits today, because by the time you get through those, 20% of those people have gone on to something else. And the data, every month the data gets worse. So you're better off, if you're going to use something, I do recommend using one of those sites because it'll save you a ton of time. Even if you have a 20 or 30% error rate, it'll still save you a ton of time. But do them in small chunks so that you give that site time to keep things more updated. But I do like, the ZoomInfos and the Apollos, because not only are they going out and doing the research to try and keep this stuff as current as possible, but they have salespeople that are in the system that are basically validating stuff over and over again too, which helps keep it a little bit cleaner. So lists, I'm always kind of leery of. Some lists are decent, but you get an awful lot of people that say they have lists out there that who knows where they got them from.
Exactly.
And nowadays, I mean, with the beauty of technology, you can usually find the person that you need to get in touch with. The challenge is, can you connect with them and engage with them?
Exactly. It's not that hard, to be honest with you. You can get the email address just talking to the front desk person and get all the keynotes on who does the staffing. I mean, it's going to take some time.
It just comes down to the value of your time versus, being able to, if I go run a search on Apollo or ZoomInfo, it's going to take me 2-3 minutes to do that. To be able to actually go and research those could take me a dozen hours or more. So it's, there's a trade-off there. And even if I know that 30% of it's not going to be right, which is about right, because average tenure in the US is about 3 years. A third of people are switching jobs every year. So if they stay about 70, 75, 80% accurate, they're staying on top of it pretty good. To me, I would rather take that and use that time to have value added activities, which is calling people, having conversations, having appointments, closing deals. So.
What's your take on sales reps, Tom, that they should help out with the recruiting? I mean, because what I see now is companies I deal with, the sales rep hands it off and just walks away, and it could be a shitty ass contract that we're never going to fill. So, you know what I mean? And then they just hound the recruiter. You're going to fill so I can get my commission. What's your take being out there?
Well, I'm a big believer in having a handoff process between sales and service that has overlap. Most companies have a no handoff process, or it's informal at best. And usually there's a gap. It is the salesperson goes all the way up to the point of landing the deal. Then it is, I'll have somebody from the office get in touch with you to get the order, or they take an order, but usually salespeople don't take great orders, so they give them incomplete information. There's a gap there. The recruiting team reaches out to them, maybe doesn't know all the information. I want that to overlap. I want a handoff process where I'm actually getting the fulfillment team involved before that contract is signed. And there are a bunch of benefits to it. One is it actually helps close deals, because in a lot of cases, the fulfillment team has a lot more credibility in the eyes of that prospect than the salesperson does, who they're skeptical of because they're a salesperson, right? And they've been burned by other salespeople promising the world. So to talk to somebody in the office, that makes a big difference. But the other reason is you're getting commitment on both sides. The fulfillment team's coming in and saying, yep, we can fill these jobs. Mr. Future Customer, we're going to fill your jobs. I'm going to be your person that does that. So it gets more commitment there. And they also understand the job before, and there's more ownership of it because they were involved in some of the process. So you get it to the point of negotiate and close, and you say, hey, at this point, I'd like to bring in one of our recruiters or the client service person that's going to handle your account, and get them to come in here, see the facility, answer any questions that you have, get to know you guys already. It also helps determine how much commitment there is on the client side as well. Are they really committed and willing to do this? So there's a ton of benefits to having a handoff process that overlaps sales and service.
You know it, man. Good stuff. Anything else, Tommy, you want to talk about in sales, man? So before we wrap it up, I mean,
I'm excited for the sales summit. It's something that I have not seen done before. I think it's going to be the first of many of this new conference, and I know we're limiting it to a certain number of people. So I would say if people are interested in it, definitely get signed up soon. Oh, but there it is.
100 people. That's it. So I mean, we still got a couple spots left. So just reach out to any of us there. I know there's a 20% discount right now, right, John?
I believe so, but people have to act fast. It's going to fill up pretty quick.
Definitely. And look at this, man. I got to pull this up here. I think that's Tom. That's his high school picture. Is that Mr. Herb's picture?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It is. That's the last time I wore a tie. Yeah.
You're aging well, Tom. You haven't aged much at all.
Well, thank you.
So are you going to wear a tie to this event? Are you going to be all pimped out or what?
The last time I wore a tie was that picture. Okay. So, no, I will not. I won't be wearing a tie. No.
It's in Florida. You better wear flip-flops. Come on, man.
I'm increasingly getting more casual as I get older. So it could be flip-flops and jeans. And maybe it's just because I'm hanging around the shark and I see how he dresses and I go, that's how I want to dress.
Look at that. See?
I want to show off the guns too.
Oh, here we go. You know what?
I want to, Tom, but first I need guns to show off.
Well, that's my problem too. Yes.
Hey, you guys really know. You know when I take a picture, it's always from the right side. You know where I can get that handshake in, the shark shake. It's always from the right side. Right. Just let you know.
Because that other arm's just so much smaller. Is that what it is? Is it?
Man, you got my secret out. But I got to tell you, if you guys still want to sign up, look at this place we're going to be at. I mean, Margaritaville, Tom and John, it's going to be a blast there, man.
It's gonna be fun.
And then we
Looking
got some
forward to
other,
it.
I just want to reach out. Look at this. We're going to have some more shows with some of the other speakers.
It's a great lineup.
It is a great lineup of people, man. Seriously, it does, man. I got nothing else. Johnny, you got any wrap up, man, before we get out of here, man? Because I'm getting busted down today.
No, I'm excited to see you, Tom, next month, and be a part of that and see the other sessions as well. I encourage people to take advantage of this opportunity to really focus a couple days on really improving your sales abilities that will help your businesses grow. So we appreciate you taking time out to be on, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing you guys in person as always.
Hey, Tommy, it's always a pleasure, man. And remember, we're going to get a picture together. It'll be my left hand instead of the right.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.